I am Margaret Ann Windsor, and I was kidnapped in 1941 and brought to Moulton, Alabama, and given the name of the twin. If this is a little askew, excuse me, I'm having a rough time here. My father's Edward VIII, and I'm going to show pictures in a moment, but I want to read a couple of letters, and the rest of them have been stolen over the years from my files. They've been taken. I put them up on YouTube a couple of years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, but my understanding now is some of my videos are put on a can't view list, so I don't know if they're up there, the letters. He's a friend of mine, and I'm not going to tell his name right now. I met him when I was almost killed in 1980. April Fool's Day, I was filled full of antifreeze. I'd done a medical malpractice book on mind control murders. I'd worked for doctors, and one of the doctors that was in my case file and written about was U.S. Congressman Larry McDonald, who was a urologist at Piedmont Hospital in Atlanta. There were murders there. The Warren and Rosina Matthews were forensic pathologists at the hospital. They were murdered and in Cobb County and prosecuted by Buddy Darden, who later ran against me in a campaign to replace Congressman Dr. Larry McDonald. In 1983, August the 31st, the plane he was on, the KAL, from Juneau, Alaska to Seoul, South Korea, it veered into Russian airspace and it was shot down. Now that's what you can do with mind control too. You can program the pilot, and he veers off into airspace, and it all looks like, an accident. So it happened. You don't associate it because mind control you can't see. It's invisible unless the murders were done in patterns. For that purpose, you would think to be proven. I don't know at this point. What I want to say is I was kidnapped, and I've put it up here. I found out in 83 when I was in a political campaign to replace Larry McDonald, Congressman Doctor. I'd written about Larry Flynn of Hustler magazine was shot. His attorney killed in Lawrenceville, Georgia, March the 6th of 78, and I was living in Marietta at Moonraker Apartments and writing the book, MD License to Kill, and I was almost killed myself. Illegally, I can't tell it. It's too much. So I met Jack. I was illegally taken across the state line where I passed a background check by Sheriff Patterson as a requirement to work for the district attorney, Fred Simpson, Madison County, DA, Huntsville, Alabama. I passed and worked for him, and that's when the murder of John Lennon happened in November, I believe, 6th, or December the 6th of 80. Martin David Chapman shot him. Martin David Chapman was programmed, just like the person that shot Larry Flynn. I put all this up, but I was given the name of a twin. I was kidnapped and brought to Moulton, Alabama, and I've put all these pictures up before. I'll try to get them up if I can on this video. But all my letters from, I'm just going to say Jack. He was FBI, and he worked for, I guess people, if they wanted to, could look him up there. This man, if he's still alive, has been through hell himself for telling the truth, and he tried to help me, and he did save my life there. It's how they tried to kill me in Huntsville. And the woman who killed her twins, I was given the name of Peggy Dempsey, my identity stolen. Both twins were dead, Peggy and Carl, born out of wedlock, and their mother, Lina, killed them. And the family covered it up, and I was dropped off there. I'm assuming they kidnapped me and brought me across the pond somehow. The Kennedys, their father, Joe, was ambassador to England at the time. In 1941, when I was kidnapped at age 2, they were staying at the embassy and even made speeches before Parliament, British Parliament. I want to read this. The only 2 letters I can find tonight out of all of them. Okay, and I will say this, Salvador Vizzini was FBI agent. He was brought in there as chief of police. And if he hadn't been there and Jack hadn't been there, I'd already been filled full of antifreeze and should have died. And then I go to work for the district attorney. Oh, they were taking me down, and it was hell trying to live through it after what they'd done to me. Can you imagine you trying to pretend that nothing's happened and work in the condition I was in? Anyway, this is the two letters, and I don't know if I'll get them. They're the two left, so I'm going to read them. Okay, he's calling me Peggy. It's the name I have to use. Good to hear from you, my lady. Does sound as if you're finding some peace. Well, that's not true, though, in your new digs. Hope it continues for you. You mentioned in your latest letter that you enjoyed reading the clues in my epistles from time to time. So try this one for size. Don't know why I chose this date, Friday the 13th, to write this ditty. Friday the 13th has always been considered unlucky in the world of superstitious, but it's more than that. It's Friday the 13th in 1307, actually October the 13th, 1307, when King Philip V of France set out to destroy the order of the Templar Knights, forerunners of the Masonic Freemasons in later centuries. And they're who kidnapped me, my own family, some of the Windsors and the Freemasons, the Jews, the Kennedys, the New World Order, the Illuminati. And by the way, October 13th is also Philip that was placed there with me. I thought he was a half-brother. And then you get the relationship to Philip Mountbatten and Elizabeth, who's illegal monarch. She's my cousin. But I want to go back to this as much as I can get. Knights, the Masonic Order. It wasn't hearsay, but the king's recognition that the Templar Knights held more financial control over the French Empire, and he wanted to destroy them all to confiscate their wealth. Many of the Templar Knights were prosecuted and killed, but as fate would have it, others survived, fleeing to safety. The Templar Knights, guards of Solomon's temple, as described in both religious documents of different faiths and other signs, were in fact the first such order to devise a means of establishing financial credit between the bastions of the old world. Would you believe the forerunners of bank loans with interest, or even the concept of credit cards? The Templar Knights were even more than that. They were supposed to have been the possessors of the Holy Grail, the cup from which Christ drank at the Last Supper. There is, however, a twist to just precisely what the Holy Grail actually was. The Templar Knights, according to legends, if they were legends, held proof that Jesus of Nazareth was actually married contrary to biblical interpretations, and that the woman, the vessel of Christ's procreation, was secreted out of Jerusalem to faraway lands, first to Egypt perhaps, later to Spain, then France after the crucifixion. The bottom line was that the Templar Knights, later the Masonic Freemasons, held proof that there was a continued bloodline of Jesus Christ, hence the Holy Grail. That bloodline has been carried down through the ages. To this day, Masonic lodges and Freemasons, particularly Masons who have risen to the level of third degree, continue with secret rituals, much pomp and circumstance, many mysterious rituals handed down for centuries. It would not be out of the question that while participating Masons go through the motions of these rituals, even they may not fully understand the magnitude of those same rituals. Just thought you'd enjoy this as food for thought. It takes nothing away from Christianity, but it could also be enlightenment. In the darkest moments of those days in Huntsville, for me, an acquaintance, now deceased, came to me with a portrait of a wistful. By the way, I saw this at Jack's in March when he lived next to George O'Keeffe, and I started finding out my real name. She's my aunt. My father's Edward VIII, illegally taken down married to Claudia